Greetings, Nerd Nighters, people following this blog. This is number 6 of Paul Saxberg's vlog design diary for the DFW Nerd Night Design Competition. I'm going to run over a bunch of stuff that explains where I'm at with my game, which is tentatively called Belt Pirates. The name has changed like 20 times. Still not happy with it, but that's probably the best one I've got so far. So we're going to open with just some quick little snapshots of stuff to show off. This is the pile of cards I've made so far, prototyping the different versions of this game. Gives you an indication of how much. Good news, they're all recycled, so it's not all just destroyed tree components. This is the notes that I've been making at work when I'm busy doing my work, my day job. I'm constantly writing down little bits of inspiration and thoughts and evolutions to the game on these little pieces of paper and bringing them home and crumbled up in my pocket and then trying to figure out what the heck the individual notes mean later on when I'm at home. This is what the cards look like when I put them together in my old computer, because this one doesn't have any proper software on it yet for that sort of thing. So these are made on Microsoft Publisher. And if I need to do any fine work, that's done in Adobe Photoshop CS3. And I'm going to be updating to more modern stuff, hopefully at some time soon. So I'm just going to quickly explain the graphic layout here. Most of the cards played in the game are played face down, so you don't need to see anything on the back. In fact, the back needs to be generic, it needs to be blank as possible. One possible problem is that I noticed that deck protectors don't properly fit in here. You can push them in, but they're awkward. So that's kind of annoying. I've got really old deck protectors. I'm going to try it with newer ones and see whether or not that makes a difference. But if you're a judge and you're watching this, be aware deck protectors may or may not work properly for you. So we'll look into that. When the cards, some of the cards that are face up, they will be placed like this, and of course this is all going to be replaced with a proper graphic of some sort. So the only thing you get to see is what class the ship is. You don't get to see any of this other information. The silhouettes are just chrome, they're art at this point because that space is wasted otherwise. And I wanted a picture of the ship on there, and there's no reason why it can't be on there in that spot. So I got 4 classes of ship. I just quickly run through what the game looks like before the playtesting, because I'm here to describe some playtesting. We got 4 classes of ship. We have privateers. They attack you. They cost you points. They need a 6 pips worth of dice to destroy. This numbers vary from ship to ship, but they all have the exact same top on them. The reason the privateer is printed on there is so that if you have a handful of cards, you can quickly tell which class each ship is in your hand. The other information all has to be lower on the card because it has to be invisible when the card is in the box, so I have no choice about where that goes. So this here is a freighter. This is the one that you claim with its reward. This one has hyperdrive powers. That's what the little graphic is there. These 4 blobs here, those are just different colors among the decks. I have 3 identical decks, so that all the red ones are for the red player, green ones for the green player, that sort of thing, right? Those will probably be replaced with color. Well, I was going to make them actually originally all the decks have different colored backs on them, and I thought that uses an awful lot of ink, and the judges are probably going to be printing out 24 copies each of these games, so may as well be a little easier on the budget if we can. So yeah, the bad ships, the privateer and the escort, and the good ships, the science ship and the freighter. So, playtesting. In the last couple of days, I really haven't had a chance to meet up with any of the other local Calgary designers. My schedule's been full of other things. I have a day job, I have a wife, you know, I have an improv group that I'm part of, and they recently just had a show week, and the other designers here all have their own schedules to work around as well. So I was having a lot of trouble playtesting, so I did some self-playtesting against myself, and I made one main change in that game, which is that the convoys I wanted to be larger in play, and I also wanted the game to be more about the bluffing of setting up meaner or easier convoys and trying to either fool the other players into attacking them or fool them into not attacking them. So I went with players starting 3 ships in a convoy, 1 face up, 2 face down. Now, playing any kind of a bluffing game against yourself in playtesting requires some mental gymnastics. Now, I mean, I've done role-playing games. I'm an actor. You know, I'm pretty good at that sort of thing, and I have all my life. But I've got a couple of tricks that I'm going to talk about here for playing games against yourself. I don't have a sheet here for me, but what I actually do when I lay it out on the table, I have an actual place setting for each player. And I'll have a little sheet there, and at the top of the sheet I'll put a name for the player, and I'll put if I want that player to play any particular sort of strategy, or if I want that player to be good at the game or not good at the game, or aggressive, or whatever. I'll make just a couple of quick bullet points, like I'll just write like aggressive or something like that on the player sheet. So when I come back to it, I know what's going on in that player's mind, and I'll walk back and forth around the table with my pen, taking each player's turn. And as I'm in that player's spot, I'll also quickly make a couple of bullet points as to what that player's thinking about. Player A suspects player C is a sideline, or whatever that sort of thing is. It helps me have a bit more of a realistic perspective of what that player would be doing. And what I've started to do lately when I do this is I've started to apply the Wizards of the Coast player psychographics to this, so that each player has its own personality. For anybody not familiar with this, Google it. They'll do a way better job of explaining it than I would. But just to very quickly tell you, there's like dozens of them now, but the original 3 and the most famous ones that the Wizards of the Coast market their games towards are Timmy, Johnny, and Spike. And so that's what my 3 players who played this game were when I did my play self-iteration. Timmy is there for the experience of the game. He likes the social aspect. He likes to play the fun cards. He likes to play the role. He wants to get the big ship out. He wants to get the big score. Timmy likes dice. Timmy likes the thrill of play. Johnny, in Magic terms, is the guy who sets up the combos and the weird theme decks and the weird things that alter the play environment in some interesting way. And his goal is to express himself artistically. Spike is just concerned with winning. It's the only thing he wants to do. Sometimes Spike has something else. Really, it's more properly phrased, Spike has something to prove, and usually what he's trying to prove is that he's better than the other players. But sometimes he'll find something else that he has to prove, and he'll prove that within the game. So I sat down and mentally viewed the game through each of these lenses. Timmy loves the idea of being a space pirate and getting the big score, and so he wants to hit the big convoys. Spike's a little frustrated that he can't go after the other players, and so he likes the distress call mechanism, and he wants to use that. But he's a little worried that someone's going to get ahead of him, and he's not going to be able to do anything about it. Johnny, at the moment, is not actually that impressed with this game because he can't do a lot to express himself through play. He's got tactical options, he's got strategic options, but he wants to build his own deck. He wants to have his own creative approaches to the game, which the game is a little narrow for him, so I'm thinking that over. So I played a couple quick rounds of these 3 against each other, and Spike did win, as expected, and I think Timmy had fun, so that's 2 out of 3 ain't bad, I guess, right? I think most board games don't really market to Johnny, but I'm going to give some more thought to that, because I do have a couple of ideas. I learned a few things, and these various notes here gave me a few things that work. So the next direction the game is going to go. The first thing, the ambush mechanic, well, I really love it from I love that as a solution to the problem it's trying to solve. It's still fiddly. There's a lot of counting. There's a lot of upkeep and maintenance that's really annoying. And so I'm going to try something that just eliminates that step entirely. When the players attack, they're already rolling the dice. So now what's going to happen is you're going to compare the dice total to the ships in the convoy. And if you roll equal or lower, you've got surprise. And the pandas are already zeros under the current system. So that's going to give you an expected value on 2 dice of 5 pips on average. That's where the center of the bell curve is. So that means that on average, if you attack a 5-ship convoy, in other words, how long it takes for the ships to come back around to you after you've launched them, 3 plus 1 from that player plus 1 from that player, then you have slightly better than 50% odds. And I really, really like that. That's exactly the sweet spot I'm aiming for. So that means the player to my right can attack my convoy slightly before he's ready. So it's an interesting choice. It may not be an optimal choice, but if he picks it, he's making a bold and aggressive choice. That's the exact spot I want him to be in. So I'm super happy with that because it saves a fiddly counting step. It uses the components in a very elegant way, and it's much easier for the players to understand and easier for me to explain and write the rules up for them. This actually came to me while I was writing the rules. That's the point, the value of writing the rules. The second thing I'm considering doing to simplify things is I've currently got 4 classes of ship. I think I might only need 2. Because in all practical terms, the science and the freighter ships work exactly the same way. It's just one gives you points, one gives you technology. But there's no reason why they have to be separate. I can just have the technology ships give you less points and some sort of engine bonus. Likewise, the privateers and the escorts function the same way. They just have a different result if they're not neutralized by combat dice. And so I'm considering unifying them in the next version. The other thing I have is just sort of a goofy Chrome to attach to the game. And I was thinking, oh god, I'm going to have to come up with ship names. I didn't have to, but I really want to come up with ship names. But there's 63 ships in the game right now. And I thought, well, the perfect solution is sitting right in front of me. So at this point, all of the treasure ships are going to be named for all of the sponsors of the competition, and all of the escorts and privateer ships are going to be named for all of the contestants in the competition, and the special ships are going to be named for the judges of the competition. So there's all my names right there. So if anyone's watching this and you don't want to be in my game, I'll edit the name slightly so it's something else. Let's see here. I think that's everything off my list. So if you excuse me, I got a date with Timmy, Johnny, and Spike to test some new rules. Talk to you soon.